Some of us have been taught to settle for survival and love. But I came to tell somebody today that real love does not require you to shrink yourself to fit inside someone else's limitations. Some of us have been holding on to counterfeit love, relationships that keep us second guessing, situationships that have us questioning our own worth. But when a man truly loves you, he doesn't just make promises, make space for you. He doesn't just show up when it's convenient that stands beside you when life gets real. He doesn't just speak love, he shows it. See, love was never meant to leave you feeling empty. A love that drains you, confuses you, or makes you feel like you have to prove your worth is not love, it is a distraction. Some of us have spent years trying to earn love from men who were never meant to hold our hearts. But I need somebody to understand that real love doesn't require you to chase it. A man who truly loves you will already know your value. Somebody needs to hear this today. You are not asking for too much when you ask for respect. You are not difficult just because you have standards. You are not unworthy just because someone failed to love you the right way. When a man truly loves you, he loves you as you are, not as a version of you that's easier to control. Some of us have been praying for love, but still entertaining distractions. We have been asking for something real, but refusing to walk away from what we know is not. Today, I came to tell you it's time to stop settling. The kind of love you desire exists. The kind of love you were created for is waiting. But you cannot be open to what is real while still holding on to what is not. Some of us have been taught to believe that love requires pain, that if it doesn't hurt, if it doesn't leave you crying, if it doesn't stretch you beyond what you can bear, then it must not be real. But love was never designed to be a battlefield where you are constantly proving your worth, where you have to keep sacrificing pieces of yourself just to feel seen. Love was never meant to leave you questioning if you are enough. The right love, the love that builds rather than breaks, the love that heals rather than harms, will never require you to abandon yourself to receive it. Somebody needs to hear this today. You were never created to beg for what is freely given. The love that was meant for you will not come with conditions. It will not be a game of push and pull. It will not be a prize you have to fight for. Love that heals does not manipulate, does not tear down, does not make you feel like you have to become someone else to be worthy of it. If you have to sacrifice your peace for it, if you have to silence your voice for it, if you have to walk on eggshells just to keep it, then baby, that is not love. That is fear, that is insecurity, that is control, but it is not love. Some of us have been conditioned to think that if we just love harder, if we just give more, if we just hold on longer, then somehow we can force someone to love us the way we deserve. But you cannot love a person into being ready for you. You cannot force someone to cherish what they were never prepared to handle. You cannot water a seed that refuses to be planted. Love was never meant to be a one-sided effort, never meant to be a desperate pursuit, never meant to feel like you are the only one holding it together. You deserve a love that makes you feel safe, a love that gives you the freedom to be yourself without fear of judgment, without fear of abandonment, without fear of losing yourself just to keep it. Love should bring peace, not confusion. Love should bring clarity, not chaos. Love should bring healing, not heartbreak. If it leaves you questioning more than it reassures you, if it drains you more than it pours into you, then maybe, just maybe, it is not love. Maybe it is a lesson. Maybe it is a test. Maybe it is a thing that was meant to teach you what you do not have to settle for. Somebody needs to understand that love is not about possession. It is not about controlling you, limiting you, making you feel small so that someone else can feel big. Real love covers you. It protects you. It nurtures you. It does not silence your voice. It amplifies it. It does not shrink your light. It helps it shine even brighter. A person who truly loves you will see your growth as a blessing, not a threat. They will push you towards your purpose, not pull you away from it. They will celebrate your strength, not feel insecure because of it. When a man truly loves you, he does not love just the parts of you that are easy, that are convenient, that fit neatly into his world. He loves you in the moments when you are unsure, when you are evolving, when you are growing into the fullness of who you were created to be. Love is not just words spoken in moments of passion. It is actions that reflect commitment even when it's not convenient. It's not just about how he treats you when everything is good, but how he stands beside you when life gets heavy. Some of us have mistaken attention for love. We have mistaken consistency in our presence for consistency in our hearts. But attention does not equal love. Someone checking in on you is not the same as someone committing to you. Someone wanting you is not the same as someone valuing you. A man who truly loves you does not just show up when it's easy, when it benefits him, when he's lonely, when he's bored. He shows up because he chooses to, because he values what you bring, because he honors the space you hold in his life. A love that heals is not about dependency. It is about partnership. It is not about completing each other, but about complementing each other. It is about two whole people walking in alignment, understanding that love is not about taking, but about giving. Not about convenience, but about commitment. Not about just saying, I love you, but about living out that love in ways that make you feel seen, valued, and cherished. So, to the woman listening right now, the one who has been waiting, the one who has been wondering, the one who has been questioning if she is asking for too much, hear me when I say this. You are not asking for too much. You are not difficult because you have standards. You are not unworthy just because someone failed to love you the right way. The right love will never make you feel like you have to fight just to be chosen. It will never leave you feeling like an afterthought. It will never require you to become less of who you are just to fit into someone else's world. The love that is meant for you will meet you where you are. It will embrace the fullness of who you are. It will not run at the first sign of difficulty. It will not hesitate when it's time to commit. And it will never leave you wondering if you are enough, because you have always been enough. And the right love will recognize that. The right love will cherish that. The right love will honor that. There comes a point in life when you have to decide whether or not you are willing to settle for a love that leaves you questioning your worth. A love that keeps you on your toes, unsure of whether it's real or just temporary. There is a strength that rises up when you stop chasing after something that doesn't reflect who you are. You see, when a man truly loves you, it's not a guessing game. It's not a cycle of highs and lows that leave you emotionally drained. Love should never leave you wondering if you are enough. The right love will let you know, without a shadow of a doubt, that you are everything. But sometimes we get caught up in what we think love should look like. We begin to mold ourselves into what we believe is needed to be loved. We put on facades and wear masks trying to fit into the molds that others have made for us. We do all of this while slowly losing pieces of ourselves in the process. The problem with that is when you lose yourself trying to fit into someone else's vision, you rob yourself of the ability to truly experience love in its purest form. Because real love, the love you deserve, will never ask you to be anything less than who you are. Real love will not ask you to change, to compromise, or to minimize yourself just to fit into someone's idea of what love should be. It will hold you in your entirety and embrace the fullness of your being. When a man truly loves you, his love will never make you feel small, unnoticed, or insignificant. His love will never diminish your dreams, desires, or purpose. In fact, it will encourage you to become the best version of yourself. He won't try to control you. He won't try to change you. Instead, he will stand beside you, pushing you forward, reminding you of your worth, and supporting you in ways that help you grow. Because true love is not about possession, it's about partnership. Some of us have experienced love that made us feel like we were being shaped into someone else's vision rather than growing into the person we were meant to be. It's hard to grow when you're constantly trying to please someone else. You can't bloom when you're constantly being pruned for someone else's comfort. Real love doesn't feel like a constant battle to prove yourself. Real love feels like an invitation to show up just as you are, no makeup, no pretensions, no filters, and still be loved deeply, truly, and wholeheartedly. But we've been conditioned, haven't we? We've been taught that love should come with sacrifice. We've been told that in order to keep love, we have to give up pieces of ourselves. We've been made to believe that a love worth having is one that will take from us until we have nothing left. But the truth is, real love will never take from you what you need to keep in order to be whole. Real love is not about draining you, it's about filling you up. It's not about asking you to lose yourself so that someone else can feel secure. It's about encouraging you to keep growing, to keep evolving, and to become everything you were created to be. So when you find yourself in a relationship where love feels more like a drain than a blessing, it's time to ask yourself if you're willing to let go. Let go of the notion that love should feel like sacrifice. Let go of the fear that you're asking for too much. Let go of the idea that you should settle for a love that keeps you guessing. You don't have to stay in a relationship where your peace is disturbed, where your light is dimmed, or where your worth is questioned. When a man truly loves you, he will love you in a way that aligns with who you are. His love will give you space to grow. It will build you up, and it will help you walk in your purpose. He will not hold you back or make you feel like you are taking up too much space. Instead, he will see the beauty in your ambition, the strength in your resilience, and the power in your heart. He will honor your growth, and he will celebrate every step you take toward becoming the woman you were meant to be. Love should never leave you wondering if you are enough. If you have to constantly question whether you are loved, whether you are valued, whether you are worth it, then it's time to walk away. True love will never leave you doubting your place in someone's heart. It will always reassure you, even when things get tough, that you are more than enough, that you are worthy, and that you are deeply loved. It's time for us to stop settling for anything less than the love we deserve. You don't have to shrink yourself for someone else's comfort. You don't have to make yourself small to make someone else feel big. The love you deserve will never require you to lose yourself. It will never make you feel like you are not enough. It will never leave you doubting your worth. Because when a man truly loves you, he will see you, he will appreciate you, and he will love you fiercely just as you are. And you will never have to wonder if you are enough. Because, darling, you already are. There is something powerful about a woman who understands her worth. She no longer begs for the love she deserves, and she doesn't shrink herself just to fit into someone's life. She stands firm, knowing that real love, true love is never something that has to be forced. Too often, we get caught up in proving ourselves worthy of someone's attention, as if love is a prize we have to earn. But love, real love, doesn't require you to chase it. It doesn't demand that you break yourself down just to be seen. A woman who knows her worth walks differently, talks differently, loves differently, because she understands that anything meant for her will never require her to become someone she is not. But let's be real. It's not always easy to step into that kind of confidence. Life has a way of making us question our own value. Maybe you've been in a relationship where you were made to feel like you weren't enough. Maybe you've given your all to someone who only gave you pieces in return. Maybe you've stayed in situations that drained you because you thought that's what love was supposed to, but hard, painful, exhausting. But love that is real, love that is deep, will never leave you empty. It will never require you to pour everything you have into a cup that was never meant to hold you. There is a difference between someone who desires you and someone who values you. Desire is temporary, it comes and goes. It fades when things get hard. But value is built on something real. When someone values you, they see you for who you are, not just for what you can give them. They don't just want you when it's convenient. They stand with you even when it's not easy. And a woman who knows her worth doesn't settle for anything less than that. She doesn't entertain half-hearted love. She doesn't tolerate inconsistency. She doesn't sit around waiting for someone to decide if she's good enough, because she already knows she is. And let me tell you something. Walking away from what doesn't honor you is not a loss, it's a win. Too many times we hold on to relationships that have already run their course, thinking that if we just try harder, love will finally show up the way we need it to. But love that has to be convinced is not love at all. Love that leaves you questioning yourself is not love at all. And love that only shows up when it's convenient is not the kind of love you were created for. You deserve the kind of love that stays, the kind of love that chooses you, the kind of love that doesn't make you wonder. But before you can receive that kind of love, you have to believe you are worthy of it. Because here's the truth. People will only treat you the way you allow them to. If you keep accepting less than you deserve, you will keep getting less than you deserve. If you keep allowing someone to disrespect you, they will keep doing it. If you keep settling for halfway love, you will never experience love in its fullness. A woman who knows her worth sets the standard. She makes it clear what she will and will not accept. She does not beg, she does not chase, and she does not settle. And I know sometimes it gets lonely. Sometimes it feels like the wait is too long. Like maybe you should just accept what's in front of you instead of holding out for something greater. But let me remind you of this. Loneliness is not a reason to settle. Loneliness is not an excuse to entertain love that isn't real. Just because you are alone does not mean you are not loved. Just because someone is not standing next to you does not mean you are not worthy. Being alone is not a punishment, it is an opportunity. It is a season where you get to discover yourself, love yourself, and prepare yourself for the love that is worthy of you. And when that love comes, because it will come, you will know the difference. You will know what it means to be truly valued. You will know what it feels like to be truly chosen. You won't have to convince anyone to love you. You won't have to fight for a seat at a table where you were never meant to sit, because the right love, the real love, will find you exactly where you are. And when it does, you will see why nothing else ever worked out. You will understand why those doors had to close, why those relationships had to end, and why you had to walk away from things that were never meant to hold you. So don't lower your standards just because you're tired of waiting. Don't entertain love that isn't real just because you're afraid of being alone. Don't allow yourself to believe that you have to work for what should be freely given. Love is not a battle. Love is not something that leaves you exhausted, drained, or broken. Love is supposed to build you, to strengthen you, to bring you peace. And anything that doesn't do that is not love at all. You are worthy of a love that chooses you every single day. You are worthy of a love that honors who you are. You are worthy of a love that doesn't make you question your place in someone's life. And until you find that love yourself enough not to settle for anything less. There comes a point in life where you must stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You have to stop justifying your heart, your standards, and your expectations to those who refuse to meet them. There is a certain kind of peace that comes with realizing that not everyone is meant to walk with you into the next season of your life. Some people were only meant to be lessons, not lifelong companions. Some connections were only meant to show you what love isn't, so that when the right love arrives, you won't mistake it for anything less than what you deserve. A woman who understands her worth no longer entertains people who play games with her emotions. She no longer gives multiple chances to someone who has already shown her who they truly are. She no longer fights to prove her value to someone who was never capable of seeing it in the first place. The truth is, love is not blind. People just choose to ignore the sign. When someone truly cares, you don't have to wonder. You don't have to question where you stand. You don't have to break yourself into smaller pieces just to fit into their life. A man who truly loves you will never make you feel like loving him is a war you have to fight on your own. Too many times women hold on to potential instead of reality. They fall in love with what a man could be instead of who he actually is. They convince themselves that with enough patience, with enough love, with enough sacrifice, he will finally rise to meet them where they are. But love should not require suffering before it offers security. Love should not be something you have to earn through endurance. The right love, the real love, will recognize you the first time. It will not require you to prove your worthiness because it will already know your value. There is power in knowing when to walk away from anything that does not honor you. A woman who has grown, who has healed, who has built herself up from the heartbreaks of her past, understands that silence is a response. Distance is a response. No longer answering the calls of someone who only remembers you when it is convenient is a response. Growth teaches you that not every battle is yours to fight. Some things are better left unanswered, some doors are better left unopened, and some people are better loved from a distance. When you have experienced love that was inconsistent, it can be easy to believe that love is always supposed to be complicated, that love is supposed to hurt before it heals. That love is supposed to leave you anxious, confused, or feeling like you have to fight for your place in someone's life. But let me tell you something. Love that is real will never make you feel like an option. You will never have to compete for a seat at the table. You will never have to beg to be understood. You will never have to wonder if you are enough. A man who truly loves you will create space for you in his life. He will not make you chase him, nor will he leave you questioning his intentions. His love will be evident not just in words, but in actions and consistency, in the way he shows up even when life gets hard. So many women waste years trying to fix what was never meant to be whole in the first place. They keep pouring their love into empty cups, hoping that one day the man they are waiting for will finally become the man they deserve. But love is not supposed to drain you. Love is not supposed to break you down just so it can build you back up. Love should feel like a place of safety, not uncertainty. And if love is leaving you more wounded than it is healing you, then maybe it's not love at all. The problem is not that you are asking for too much. The problem is that you are asking the wrong person. A man who is truly ready to love you will not make you feel guilty for having standards. He will not make you feel like you are difficult to love. He will not make you second guess your worth just because he is unsure of his own. Love that is real will meet you at your level. It will rise to meet your expectations. It will not make you question if you are lovable. It will remind you that you always have been. And so a woman who knows her worth learns to stop fighting for spaces where she was never meant to belong. She stops begging for love that should have been freely given. She stops allowing the fear of loneliness to keep her bound to relationships that only offer her pain, because she understands now that being alone is not the same as being unloved. That solitude is not a punishment, but a preparation. That sometimes walking away is the greatest form of self-love she can give to herself. The moment she stops settling for less is the moment she makes room for more. The moment she stops chasing after someone who refuses to choose her is the moment she positions herself to be found by someone who will. Love is not something you should have to convince someone to give. Love should be given freely, wholly, and without hesitation. And until that love finds you, love yourself enough not to settle for anything less. There comes a time when a woman must understand that peace is her greatest possession. That no amount of love, no depth of connection, and no history shared with someone should cost her the very thing that sustains her spirit. Too many women have been conditioned to believe that love means sacrificing their time, their joy, their voice, their dreams. But love that constantly demands your suffering is not love. It's bondage. Love that constantly makes you question yourself is not love. It's manipulation. Love that only loves you when it is convenient, when you are easy to handle, when you are agreeable and accommodating is not love. It is control. A man who truly loves you will not make you choose between yourself and the relationship. He will not make you shrink just so he can feel bigger. He will not require you to abandon your standards just to stay in his presence. And yet so many women have stayed in places that have stripped them of their confidence, their self-worth, and their identity. They've spent years making excuses, believing that with more patience, with more understanding, with more compromise, love will finally bloom. But love should not require you to lose yourself to keep it. Love should be the place where you find yourself, where you flourish, where you are celebrated, not tolerated. It is a painful thing to realize that the person you love the most is not capable of loving you the way you deserve. It is a painful thing to accept that no matter how much you pour into them, they will not pour back into you. But it is in that realization that your healing begins. It is in that moment of clarity that you recognize you were never meant to beg for what should have been given freely. Some women have spent so long trying to prove that they are worthy of love that they have forgotten they never had to prove anything in the first place. A woman who knows her worth does not audition for a role in a man's life. She does not compete for affection. She does not plead for commitment. She does not settle for inconsistency. She stands in the fullness of who she is, knowing that real love will recognize her the first time. And yet, leaving is not always easy. Because leaving means letting go of a dream, of a hope, of a vision of what you thought it could be. Leaving means grieving not just the relationship, but the version of yourself that endured it. Leaving means walking away, not because you stopped loving them, but because you started loving yourself more. And that is where the battle is, the battle between the heart that wants to stay and the soul that knows it must go. But staying in a place that diminishes you, that disrespects you, that dishonors the love you have to give, will only lead to regret. A woman who stays too long in a place she was never meant to be will eventually forget the sound of her own voice. She will forget what it feels like to be cherished. She will forget that love was never meant to be earned through suffering. And so a shift must take place. A shift from desperation to discernment. A shift from pleading to peace. A shift from settling to standing firm. A woman who has healed, who has rebuilt herself from the inside out, will no longer entertain anything that does not align with her value. She will not justify why she expects consistency. She will not apologize for wanting effort. She will not minimize her needs just to make someone else comfortable, because she understands now that love should never require her to betray herself. Love should never feel like an uphill battle. Love should never make her question whether she is enough. Some women are waiting for closure that will never come, waiting for an apology that will never be given, waiting for a conversation that will never happen. But true closure is not found in someone else's words. It is found in your decision to move forward. It is found in your ability to say, I deserve more, and actually mean it. It is found in the quiet strength it takes to walk away with your head held high, knowing that what is ahead is far greater than what is behind. And when that moment comes, when she finally chooses herself, when she finally steps into the love and respect she has always deserved, she will look back not with bitterness, but with gratitude. Because every tear, every heartbreak, every disappointment was shaping her into the woman she was always meant to be. It was teaching her the power of self-worth, the beauty of standards, the necessity of boundaries. And when the right love finds her, she will know it. Not because it will be perfect, not because it will be without challenges, but because it will feel like home. It will not ask her to perform, to prove, or to plead. It will simply arrive ready and willing, just as she is. There is something powerful about a woman who has been through the fire and still stands with grace. A woman who has felt the sting of betrayal, who has known the weight of heartbreak, who has cried in silence when no one was watching, but still refuses to let her pain define her. She has every reason to be bitter, every excuse to close her heart, every justification to give up on love altogether. But instead, she chooses to rise. She chooses to heal. She chooses to believe that love in its purest form still exists. She refuses to let the mistakes of one person make her believe that she is unworthy of something greater. Because she knows now true love does not break you, it builds you. True love does not make you question yourself, it confirms what you already know. True love does not ask you to suffer first before it gets it right. There is a woman listening right now who has convinced herself that she will never experience the love she deserves. She has seen too much, been through too much, tolerated too much. She has learned to be strong because she had no other choice. She has learned to guard her heart because every time she let her guard down, she was met with disappointment. She has learned to do life on her own because leaning on the wrong people left her broken. And now she tells herself she's okay with being alone. She tells herself she doesn't need anyone. But deep down, she knows she wasn't created to build walls. She was created to experience something deeper, something sacred, something that nurtures instead of drains, something that honors instead of diminishes. But before she can experience that kind of love, she has to break free from the lies that heartbreak told her. The lie that says she is hard to love. The lie that says she has to settle for what is convenient instead of what is right. The lie that says she has to prove her worth before she is chosen. The lie that says she has to water herself down to be accepted. These lies have been sitting in her mind for far too long, shaping how she sees herself, shaping how she receives love, shaping how she shows up in relationships. And if she is not careful, she will push away what was meant for her because she is still holding on to what hurt her. Healing is not just about moving on. It's about moving differently. It's about no longer entertaining inconsistency. It's about no longer making excuses for someone's lack of effort. It's about no longer justifying mistreatment just because you love them. Healing is about recognizing that love is not meant to drain you, it is meant to fill you. Love is not meant to confuse you, it is meant to bring clarity. Love is not meant to be an uphill battle every single day, it is meant to be a partnership. Yes, love requires work, but it should not require suffering. And the moment she realizes this, the moment she fully embraces this truth, she will no longer be available for anything that feels like a burden. The shift happens when she stops seeing love as something she has to fight for and starts seeing it as something that will meet her where she is. She doesn't have to chase. She doesn't have to convince. She doesn't have to settle. She just has to be whole, because when she is whole, she will attract whole. When she is confident, she will attract confidence. When she knows her worth, she will attract someone who sees it without needing to be reminded. That is why healing is so important. That is why learning to love yourself is so necessary. Because if she is still broken, she will choose love from a place of brokenness. If she is still insecure, she will choose love from a place of insecurity. If she still believes she is not enough, she will settle for someone who treats her like she isn't enough. There will come a moment when she will look back and realize why certain things didn't work out. She will understand why that relationship had to fall apart. She will see that what she thought was love was really just attachment, fear, and a desire to not be alone. And she will be thankful that she let go, thankful that she stopped waiting for someone to change, thankful that she walked away when she did, because the very thing she thought she lost will be nothing compared to what she is about to gain. The love she wanted so desperately from the wrong person will pale in comparison to the love she receives from the right one. And when that love comes, she will recognize it instantly. It won't feel forced. It won't feel like a guessing game. It won't feel like she has to earn it. It will just be. It will be safe. It will be consistent. It will be full of respect, full of honor, full of effort. And she will know without a doubt that this time it is real. This time she is not questioning where she stands. This time she is not over-explaining her worth. This time she is not begging for the bare minimum. This time she is standing in the fullness of who she is, finally receiving the love that she has always deserved.